Question number 8, Kelvin Davis.
To the Minister of Corrections. Does he agree with all the findings of the summary of the review of the failure to return from temporary release of prisoner Phillip Smith?
The Honourable Peseta Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Yes.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Kelvin Davis.
What steps is he taking to improve the management of Spring Hill, given that the report found senior management, quote, did not act with sufficient urgency, unquote, and the, quote, escalation process beyond the prison was inadequate, unquote, yet it made no recommendations on this?
The Honourable Peseta Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Mr. Speaker, the review covered 13 recommendations and dealt with how prisoner Smith was escaped from custody, sir. So in terms of the communication between officers, the recommendations in the review dealt with having a multidisciplinary approach to the assessment of temporary release prisoners, sir, and that is in recommendation 2.
Point of order. Order. Can I just clarify before the member raises a point of order? Is it effectively saying the question wasn't answered?
The Minister. No, it wasn't answered. The Minister referred to the recommendations. I was referring to a point where no recommendations were made, and what was he going to do about it, given that no recommendations were made?
That sounds like an additional supplementary the member now wants. So, order. In my mind, there was some doubt about whether the question was actually asked. That's not been raised. No, that hasn't been raised by the member, so I'll allow him an additional supplementary question. Kelvin Davis, supplementary question.
So what steps is the Minister going to take to improve the management of Spring Hill, given the report did not make recommendations on Spring Hill?
The Honourable Peseta.
Mr. Speaker, as I'll say it again, the report didn't actually review the operation of Spring Hill. It reviewed temporary releases in terms of Phillip Smith escaping from custody. And those 13 recommendations dealt with issues that relate specifically to Spring Hill, but also to other prisons across the country.
Supplementary question, Kelvin Davis.
Why was no recommendation made around reviewing the development of offender plans, given Phillip Smith's plan wrongfully identified that he was suitable for release to work and minimum security?
The Honourable Peseta Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Sir, the recommendation number 2 refers to how multidisciplinary teams will deal with temporary releases, sir. In terms of the plan, we know that it was overly optimistic, and we know also, sir, that it was misinformed. And so recommendation 2 deals specifically with that issue.
Order. Supplementary question, Kelvin Davis.
How many other prisoners like Smith...
Order. I'm just going to ask the member to start again. I'm having trouble hearing it. Supplementary question, Kelvin Davis.
How many other prisoners like Smith have been released into the community on temporary releases without the Department of Corrections checking that the parole board was likely to release them in the near future?
The Honourable Peseta Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Sir, I don't have that figure to hand, sir, but if you'd like to place it in a written question, I'm happy to answer that.
Order. Supplementary question, Kelvin Davis.
How will it be checked whether offenders are safe to be returned to the community before releasing them now that temporary releases are limited to 12 hours?
The Honourable Peseta Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Sorry, I missed that. Could the member please repeat that question?
I invite Kelvin Davis to repeat that question.
So how will it be checked whether offenders are safe to be returned to the community before releasing them now that temporary releases are limited to 12 hours?
The Honourable Peseta Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Well, the fact that they are limited to 12 hours is actually irrelevant to the issue of how you assess prisoners for release, sir. And one of the recommendations that I've already said, the multidisciplinary teams coming together, whether it's police, SIFs, the psychologists and various other professionals, they will come together and give a holistic approach to how prisoners will be released. Whether they're released 12 hours or not is actually irrelevant.
Question number 9,